Hello, beautiful people. This is Elisa Medhus from Atlantis Scalar and from Channeling Erik. Let's do story time. Again, My Life After Death, a memoir from heaven, a channeled book, channeled from my son. So we are going to continue with Erik's therapy in the afterlife. Because I'd taken my own life, and on Earth that was considered a bad thing to do, I wondered if Kali, she's the therapist, would fuss at me about it. So I was anxious about what she was going to say next. She must have sensed my concern because she went on to tell me that there's not a term here for suicide. That's because the way you go to get to the afterlife isn't important. It's just a death like any other. Actually, it's more like a birth. Whether you come in head first, by cesarean, or feet first, it's still a birth. What matters most is how you carried your emotional heart when you were alive. She explained that this meant how emotionally honest you were with yourself and others in your life. One of the things she praised me for was that when I was alive, I was honest about who I was and how I needed to be, even if it pushed other people away and even if it caused me pain. Because of that open honesty, I carried my heart on my emotional sleeve, even when those emotions were hard to carry. It's true. Kali spoke to me with no judgment, only love. She never once used words like good or bad with me, and it didn't feel like she was trapping me in some word game like I felt some of my human therapists sometimes had. I guess the main thing that made me feel like I wasn't being judged was that she didn't treat my suicide as a taboo like many religions do on Earth. She didn't treat it as if it were bad, she just treated it like a fact, and that was very freeing for me. Next, Kali helped me answer some of the whys of my time on Earth and what they meant. We talked about why I'd chosen to come into the life I had. That's a complicated word, choice, Kali said. I remember her smiling kind of like the Mona Lisa, like she knew a secret that I didn't, and I wanted to share, and she wanted to share it, and I'm really glad she did. I learned from Kali that choices here are, in many respects, the same as the ones that humans make, but in other ways, they're really different. We all make choices. We can choose an apple instead of an orange, a yes instead of a no, one career over another. You know what I'm getting at here, but there's also a form of choice that souls make that's kind of above the concept we understand on Earth as a choice. The choice to be born into a loving family or an abusive one, for example. That isn't a choice that any human child could ever make for itself, obviously. You don't choose to be born with a certain hair or eye color. You don't choose to be born with a genetic predisposition for high blood pressure or addiction, but your soul does choose certain paths that you may or may not be aware of when you're alive as a human. Say a child is born into a loving family, but also grows up struggling with bipolar disorder, like I was and did. That's because my spirit chose to walk that particular path, and then I lived out my life. I was presented with various choices I had control over that were influenced but not predetermined by my soul's path. That may seem like the absence of free will, but it really isn't. I had the freedom to live my life, and I also had the freedom to end it. But it all led to the place I am now because that's what my soul needed. You can learn from joy or pain, frequently both. Some learn compassion by being exposed to terrible hardships, and others learn it from being exposed to nothing but joy and ease. Some never learn from life's experience at all until they're done living. I guess I was a little bit like that. I'm glad I now have this opportunity to give back some of what I've learned, though. After Kali explained to me how choice works, she went on to tell me what my soul had been searching for during my time on Earth and why that mattered. I will stop there. Leave a little teaser. All right, check out AtlantisScalar.com and also channelingerik with a K.com. Bye.